Welcome back for another video. This video will be going through a process of setting up a 32 gigabyte USB stick or flash drive to become your emergency boot CD or emergency toolbox. So if you've ever had to reinstall Windows because Windows didn't work, or if you've ever had to install such as Windows 7, Windows 10, or Server 2012, 16, or 19. So you get these ISO images. Let's open it up. So we have a Windows 7 ISO image, and we have a Windows 10 ISO image, and then we have a Windows 2012, a 2016, and 2019. So we have those images, and what we're going to do is we're going to build a multi-boot USB flash drive. And on this multi-boot, we're also going to include the rescue and recovery tools. So I'll just give you this link here. I will put this link down below just for you to go and read up more information on it. So the Hiren's boot CD will be included. This Kylie's recovery drive, which is also named Windows 10 recovery tools. The ultimate boot CD and Knoppix. Now that's all we'll include with that, with some OSs. So I'm just going to go through a process to show you how to make a multi-boot USB key. Now, if you have a larger USB key, you can put many more OSs on if you need to, or much more software if you need to. This is what I use to go around if I need to rebuild a computer, or Windows is trashed, or a hard drive is being replaced, and you need to reinstall the operating system. Well, now you have it all on one USB key, and you can boot up into a multi-boot. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go to the Win Setup from USB.com website, go to downloads. I will put this link in the description as well. And you're going to go and download the Win Setup from USB. Now I already have it, just like I've already got the images from here. So once you download, you just click on this link here, click on this link, and click on that link, and so forth, and that one. And that's how you'll get these ISO files. So first thing we need to do is we need to set up Win Setup from USB. So right here, you download it, and then once you download it, you can install it. Clicked on it twice, so I'll just cancel one. It's going to extract. And there, so this program did install correctly. So it extracts a folder. Now what we want to do is go into this folder, and there's the executable. So what I usually do is I just right click and I run as administrator. This way I have full access to format and so forth. So first thing you want to do is you want to make sure it picks up your USB key. So if you have different keys, you're gonna have to do this. Now what we want to do the very first time, only the first time, want to click format, and we will let this format to what the defaults are. And now we will also go and let's say we're going to install these boot CDs. So let's go to here to UBCD4, and you want to click on the three dots. And in my case, I'm going to my download folders, and you'll see that it's not finding them. That's because it's going into the BART PEs. So what we want to do is we're going to actually go to the Linux ISO, and we're going to click the three dots, and then we'll go to downloads, and here we are. So I want to put Hiren's boot CD and open. And now what we can do is we can just go back to the website, copy, go back here, and that's the name of it. Click OK. And what we want to do now is we want to click advanced, and in the advanced we want a custom name. And then what we do now is say go, and this is warning, this drive is going to be erased. Yes. And then going to repartition and reformat, you say yes. And so now the the USB drive will be formatted as you see over here. It's changed its name. And it will actually install this boot CD onto the drive. If we click on it, we'll see now there's an ISO being put in, and there's the ISO there. So it's actually installing this ISO onto this USB key in a bootable format. Now you do this on multiple times. So for each one you want to put on, it will put it there. Now keep in mind the disk size. So there's 5. So that's about 5 there. 6, 7, 8. So we're using about 10 gigs here for this. And then we're going to want to use Windows 7. That's another 3. Now we're at 13. And then Windows 10. That's another 4. So there's 17. So we should be able to get all of them on. So this process now is going through. As you saw, it's putting the ISO there. Now if you go back to this website, it talks to you what these tools are for and how they work. So again, that's what the links I will put below for you. You can make your boot CD or your rescue USB flash drive. You can make your rescue flash drive anything you want, or anything you want to add to it. In my case, I want a rescue CD or a rescue USB key, sorry, and have some OSs so I can reinstall. So if I'm going on to a customer site, I can then go to their computer. If the hard drive's been replaced, I need to install the OS again, so I just start with here. Now the hard part is making sure they have their license key. If you're ever looking to try and find your license key, you can go to Magic Jelly Bean. It's called Key Finder. Just use the free one and you download this. Now this, you could run this on the system, so if you had enough of your Windows crashing and you need to get your key, you can use this to pull out all your keys of any software you have installed, and then take a snapshot, save it onto the USB key, and then when you go to reinstall, you now know what the key is to reinstall. In most cases, if you install Windows on the same machine, it should go out, check it, and know that you've been authorized once before. If it doesn't, it has a phone number you can call and an automation number. You type in your keys, you tell it what your keys are, they give you a verification key, and then you install. So I'm just filling in time here for this to finish. So now it's done. So now, once this is done, we could say test. Now if we click on test, choose the drive, and click go. What this will do is boot up a test mode. So it boots up a test computer, and it's going to boot up this key we just made. So there's the menu. So there's only one item there. You click on it. There you go. So because I haven't got enough memory in this little test environment, it won't boot, but that's fine. So now we know that will boot. So I'll click that. Now what we want to do is wait for it to be finished. There it is, it's finished. We want to choose the same disk, and let's say we want to put Windows 7 on here now. So you choose 7, 3 dots, and now these are on my desktop, so I'm going to Windows 7, and I'm going to choose this ISO. And now you click, now you don't want to click format now because you've already got it. And advanced, that will give us the folder name. So click go. It's going to check the file. If the ISO you have is correct, it will then prepare to install it. You'll see now the disk USB, you see ISO, you'll see another folder pop up. Just refresh here. Yeah, you're seeing Win setup now. So rather than making an hour-long video, I will just show you the basics. This is what you do to install Windows 7 ISO on your folder. Okay. Now this will take a little bit because it's 3 gigabytes. As you see the counter, it will count up, and that's copying the data into here, the Win Setup folder. So each one of these ISOs you put will take up to 2 or 3 minutes to put it on. Now, once we're done this, I will show you again booting up, and we'll do a Windows 7 test. Now when you do a test, it's good to see how it boots up. That's really all we care about, to see how it boots up. It may not function because you can't install Windows 7 in a test environment that has no memory, no CPUs. It's just a test to see how it boots. Now this video is going to focus on Windows. The next video I make, I will show you a Mac multi-boot key. So you have multiple OSs on a Mac key. So if you have to reinstall after putting a hard drive on a Mac, you can then put a USB key in, boot up from the USB key, and choose the OS you want to put back on the Mac. And this way you don't have to go all the way back to the oldest OS that it came with. You can just go right to the nearest one. It gives you a fresh install. So it's good to have a couple of USB sticks hanging around. I use 128 gig sticks, a lot of data on them. I have some software, so I'll grab the cloud version of Adobe. It's a trial version, but once you install it, and if you have the key, then you can install the key, and then you're back online. So it saves the client from having to reinstall the software every single time. So I download the basics like 7-zip, I download Telnet, tools like that I need on a machine to begin with. And I get Chrome, Firefox, those browsers installed. And then if they have packages like Office or, like I said, Adobe or anything like that, then I help install them from there. And that's where that Magic Jelly Bean comes in. So I'll go back to that Magic Jelly Bean while this is booting and finishing. So if I go to Magic Jelly Bean, I'll download it. Go back to my download folder. And there's a key finder. So when you install the key finder, accept license, next. And then now when you launch the key finder, it will then grab all your keys. So this tells you my key, right? And that gives you your key of what you're using on that machine. So you can record that key by doing a snapshot. So you can do snippet. If you have a snipping tool, then you can just say new, and you can take a snapshot of it and save it. So that's all you have to do there. So that's one way of getting all your keys. There you go, it's finished. So now let's go to test once it comes back. Test, click go. And now you'll notice the booter will come up. Launching QEMU. And now you see Windows. So if we go into here, Windows, it'll boot up to a Windows environment and then choose Windows 7. So we can install from Windows 7 now. So now I can install Windows 7 on a computer if I need to. So close that. Once that's done. Okay. So now what we're going to do, same key. Looks like we have some space left. So let's see what kind of space we have left. We have 28 gigs. 24 gigs of 28. It's 32 gigabyte, but it takes some space away, as we know. Let's go back to downloads. And this time, so we put the HB CD. Now I want to put the Ultimate Boot CD. I'm going to go here again, go Linux. three dots, and I'm going to go back to the download folder. I'm going to put the Ultimate Boot CD, and this one here, same thing. Let's pull up our website and get the full name, right? So the Ultimate Boot CD, copy, and it saves us from typing, paste, and then we click go, and it will now copy the 695 megabyte file to there. Now the one I want to make sure I get, because I haven't used it yet, is this one. Kai's recovery drive, also called Windows 10 Recovery Tools. It's a little time consuming to build the key, and this is your toolbox. You need a screwdriver and the USB stick now. That's it. You can replace hard drives, reinstall OSs, you can fix viruses, you can install all kinds of tools on here to have with you on hand, so you can download all the latest virus scanners that you like to use, put them on the key. When you get to someone's computer, you don't have to go download them. The only thing is, you just have to make sure you keep them updated to the most current version. So here we are back again, it's done. So now, why don't we install the 64-bit version of the Windows 10 PE key, which is this here, Kai's. This one here. So let's install that. Again, choose Linux, because it is a Linux boot disk. And we will choose, let's go x86. And in this case here, we want to get the name of it again. And this time, let's put it in front of here. And then put a dash. And after that, let's get rid of all these numbers. And once it's ready, click go. And again, it's copying a gigabyte. And the next one we will run a 64-bit. This way, if you have to boot up from an old system that has x86, most systems with processors nowadays will boot up x64. So you just use the x64. But it's always good to have both sides of the table just in case you have an older machine. So there's 400 meg copied already. It's pretty quick. And then what we want to do is, once this is done, so I have the x86 installed, we'll go back and put Windows 10 on this. So this way we have Windows 7, Windows 10, and we'll have 3 emergency CDs, emergency booters, to help us get into the operating system. Now, emergency boot keys are good for, like I said, you just applied a patch, Windows blew up, it won't boot, you have to get back in. Now you can use the F8 and the F5 and last known good, and you can do all those that you know how to boot up Windows from. But sometimes it just won't work. Sometimes you still run into issues. Okay, so now we go to Windows 10 now, or 710. Choose the 3 dots, and this time we go back to desktop because where my folders are. Let's go to Windows 10. And again, let's choose this one right here. So now, wherever you get your ISOs from, if you get the original Microsoft ones, if you can download them, and then they end up being a trial if you don't have a key. So I'm going to install that one. So now you see the age of it, 1607. You want to try and get the most current. Right now, I believe what version we're at is 1809. And if you're too far back, you may not be able to patch Windows because Windows updates won't happen. So you might have some trouble. So it's a good idea to find out which ISO you're going to use and make sure it actually has the capability to update. So you do have to watch that. So it's always good to see what the latest version is, wherever you're getting your ISO from. I usually get mine right from Microsoft, so I have them. For testing, I've had in the past downloaded just a regular ISO I found on torrents just to do some testing, because I didn't have my VM I had to have running a little longer than the license period, but I wasn't running it. I just didn't have time to do it. So I ran that for a couple days and then I trashed it and got rid of it. But my version of Windows is licensed, so I can use multiple versions of Windows in Windows. So as you see here, it's 3.64 gig. It's now 58. So now let's go look at this key. And you'll see now we have ISO, we have those 3 ISOs we put on. And in Win Setup, we now have Windows 7, Windows 10. And then with this space taken, we're almost at 20. But by the time we're done, this will probably be 2021 used. So 32 gigabyte stick is great. You can have one for like home OSs and then one for the office or servers. If you don't need server-based OS, then you don't need to put them on here. So for this video, we'll just stick with the home OS, and the next video I'll show you Mac. So once this is done, the key will have Windows 10, Windows 7, and 3 different types of booters for emergency boot. And that's your toolkit. That's all you really need. Now, again, you can go out here in the main root and you can make a folder called software. I would recommend that. And then you go out and get your 7-zip or your WinZip, whatever tools that you like to install. This way you don't have to go searching for them. You can always have them on the key. Just in case where you are, they don't have internet and you don't want, or they have too slow internet. You don't want to be sitting there all night trying to install things through the internet. So you have all your toolbox sitting right there on one USB key. And this is a good idea to have just to keep yourself current with all your software you have for when you're fixing a computer or fixing a device. And if you are in a common environment, you can always build one for your client. And if they have 5 of the same computers, you could build one of these keys with all the stuff they need for their place, and then charge the client for a repair disk and have them lock it up. This way, when you go on site, you can have their key, you can boot into it and do what you need to do. So this will finish up, and I'll just go back here for a sec. So remember, you're going to go to Win Setup from USB.com. There's all kinds of help on how to actually do this. I just thought I'd create a video to give you my version of how I do it. And I think this video will help a lot of people out there trying to recover their systems. There's far too often the hard drive dies. You may not be able to recover your data, but you do need to get your system back up and running. So you get a new SSD or something, you install it, and then you need to install Windows. If your system doesn't boot, you can use these boot CDs, images. So when the system does boot, you can fix your CMOS, you can fix your BIOS, you can do all those things in normal on your computer, but you need a boot CD to get into Windows. So let's say Windows crashed, you can't get in, you need to format the drive. You can use these tools to plug a USB key, USB hard drive in outside the external drive, and you can start dumping data from this environment. So I will try and actually boot up this environment once this is done. So we can close this. But that's why these are helpful, is as you see, you're actually seeing disks of all your data on your computer installed. You can actually go in and start pulling out things you need. So this way, if you format the hard drive, you won't lose your data or your software you need. And there's all kinds of tools. Knoppix is another one. This is a version of Linux. It's a very common and popular live CD. You can boot up right into a Linux environment and it'll connect to your drive, and you can pull data off that way. You can go in and manipulate other data. It lets you recover your disk, your data, which is great, especially for a home computer. You usually don't have all kinds of equipment to do this kind of thing, taking your parts out and put them in another computer. This is another way of recovery. So this is why these tools exist. So just about done here. Now the ultimate test would be to plug the key into your computer, reboot your computer. Some computers you have to hit F9, some computers you have to hit F12, and it will boot up off the USB key. And once it boots up off there, the menu will come up just like we did in test QEMU. Once that menu comes up, then you can choose the image you want to use. So if you want to install 7 or 10, Windows 7, Windows 10, or you want to use these emergency tools. So now I'll show you here. Once it comes back up, there's the drive. Let's install another Linux. Choose this one. Let's go back to our downloads. So we've done these x86. Now I want to do something small. So these are all big now. So let's finish the 64. And in this case, we need to get this name. Copy. And we're going to do it here. And get rid of all this. Now if you want to leave that so you know your version, you can. I just want to do it this way. It makes it clean. So now I'm installing another one. And that's pretty much it. It's just like washing your hair. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Rinse, wash, repeat. So this is what we do to build a recovery USB stick. And this is multi-boot. So we have multiple items on this disk or on this USB key that will let me boot up and do multiple different things. I can install a new OS. I could boot up in a recovery of these two OSs now from this USB or this ISO, sorry. I can also use these emergency boot tools to get in and fix my computer. Let that finish, and then we'll try and do a boot up here to see what the menu looks like. And then we'll end this video, and you can go back, pause and rewind the video, all you need to do to figure out how to do this for yourself. But I do recommend it with USB keys being, I think I picked up one for $7 the other day for a Kingston 32 gigabyte Data Traveler 100. It's USB 3, it's backward compatible with 3.1, 3, and 2 USB versions, and it's 32 gigabyte. So perfect for these recovery disks that you may need, or recovery USB keys. And we're nearing the end. So while that's finishing, again, mention the 5 best rescue recovery disks for Windows System Restore. This was made this year. So these are all the tools. They're still kind of relevant from earlier this year. I haven't gone further down in the list here of things to use because the best ones are the top 3. So we got the top 4. Hirons. This one here is not being kept up with the group anymore, but the fans, they all dove in and keep it updated. So if you go to their site, you just click on the link here. It takes you to their site. This one here as well has been renamed, or most commonly known as Windows 10 Recovery Tools. Not to be confused from Windows recovery tools that comes with Windows OS. And Ultimate Boot CD and Knoppix. Those are the only ones I focused on, because those are the ones I use whenever I need them. Okay, so let's go here. Once it comes back, click go. And now it opens up into this test environment, or VM. And there's the menu. So there's the Kaihis, x86, x64, Ultimate Boot CD, the Hirons CD. We have Windows 7, and Windows 10 would be in here. Right? Oh, wrong one. So let's close this again. I don't make these so often, that often, sorry. Once I have them made, I just kind of use them. This is the first one I made in a while, actually. So let's go back down to second. So, right, we did that already. Let's go to Windows 7. And this should come up with the Windows 7, Windows 10 booters. There you go. So there's the Windows 10 and the Windows 7. And then we'll kill this, and I'll show you on the key itself. So this is the key here. You see here the boot and EFI. These are the Windows boot files that were placed there, so the Win setup can run. So this is the actual booters, and then they utilize those to get into Windows booter. That's why it's like a double boot to get into Windows. So we have Windows 7, Windows 10. We have Hiren's boot CD. We have Ultimate Boot CD, and we have the Windows 10 recovery tools, x86 and x64. So you could just eject this drive and then be done with it, and now you have your tools. I will carry on, put server 2012, server 2016, server 2019 on here as well, if they fit, but I won't do it on the video because it'll just drag the video on in repetitiveness. It's just basically choose your Windows. Once you choose your Windows, you choose your ISO, and then you go on with it. You could put Linux on here as well. So if you wanted to go get a flavor of Linux, you can get Knoppix, for instance. There's Knoppix there. So I could put Knoppix on there and it will then install. So that's it. Please like, subscribe. Let me know what else you want me to put up as a video if you're looking for some help with computers, IT based. I know my previous videos were all about setting up TV. That's kind of changed a lot because there's many different ways to do it, and it changes on a weekly basis now. So I don't really want that on my platform anymore for now anyway, just because it is borderline whether people think it's legal, illegal, and I don't want to be involved in that. This is just the best way to do things. This is what I like doing, so this will be the video content from here on out until I change it again. But again, please like, subscribe, comment, let me know what I could do better or if I'm doing great. Thank you very much. See you next video.